Yeah, no worries. My absolute pleasure. You know, it's awesome to speak with you. How's your day been? How's your day been so far?
Good. I did a couple other interviews earlier, and I got a few more after. So I have the whole day full up today.
It's fun, isn't it? Really, the album releases and the work just doesn't stop.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been waiting for. That's the exciting part of it. Hearing the feedback, that's the most important thing. The feedback.
Yeah, have you been paying much attention to the response? And I'm not just talking about, say, the critical reviews, the magazines, the websites and stuff, as well about the fans, just the people who are commenting and talking.
That's all I really been seeing, because I'm only active on the Instagram. I don't really go anywhere else. I'm not too big of a social guy, man, at all. I'm real primitive, old school. But from what I've been seeing, it's just what the fans wanted, and that's what we write for. And, I'm not trying to reinvent anything. I think, over the years, we have an identity, and that's what we found, and they know our sound, and that's what they want. I mean, I know some people take that as a good way and a bad way, but I'm not looking to change anything. I like the formula that we got, and it's working.
Well, absolutely. When it results in such a satisfying piece of music, not just for the fans, but I think as well, from an outside perspective looking in, it looks like it's been a very satisfying experience for jungle rock.
Yeah, I agree. It's going good so far, and the launch as well, man. I mean, I know a couple of CDs and the vinyl. We know how it is in the world today. It's all backed up. There's some impatient people. I ain't even seen it yet myself, so I'm getting impatient myself. But I'm supposed to get a couple copies by the end of the week, next week, and because we started a new tour, and that'll be my first time seeing the layout.
Fantastic. Well, you're right. It's a mess out there. The backup is crazy. So
yeah, they have to understand that. People have to understand that, man. I mean, it's one thing we learned out of this. I would think out of what we've been going through is, I would think we all learned a little bit more patience, right? I mean, something that we might have needed,
Yeah, you'd hope. But overall in the jungle rock camp, how is everything? How are you all feeling, amongst yourselves?
Good. We're feeling really good. I mean, we're strong. I mean, we've been waiting to get out. It's been 2 years since we've been out. I mean, we've been doing one-offs here and there, but nothing full tour. And we're excited to get out here and pull this album off, man. I mean, live, we're gonna do 5 songs on the set list, 5 new songs off the album. We're excited with that, and I think we're gonna win them over with them.
Yeah, I can't imagine the difficulty it must be when it comes to doing a set list these days, because obviously an extensive back catalogue plus the new album.
Yeah, well, this time around we're going to headline, so we're getting, an hour plus, so it's a little easier. We're going to try to touch everything, every album we got a little here and there, but yeah, and then 35, 40 minutes, I mean, where do you begin? I mean, you try to pick the ones that, that go over good with the crowd when we tour, and that's usually what we go over, the ones that go over the best, Why don't you play this one? Why don't you play this one? Well, we had 35 minutes at this fest. I mean, what do you do?
Pay you a ton of money to come play in their living room, and you'll play whatever they want, right?
Yeah, I would love to do that, man. I think that's cool. Might not take a ton of money, just to have a good time, though.
How much of an effect has the last couple of years, the COVID period, as it were, had on jungle rock and its influence on the record, if there was any at all?
There really wasn't, man. We got done doing the touring on self-titled. We were out for 2 years touring on that. And then right when we pulled the plug on the touring, we're like, we're going to have to start right now. We finished a cycle, and it hit right after that. It hit like 2 months later. Here we are at the end of the world. So it kind of, the timing was right for us, but we finished the album in a year. And what was weird is that we sat on it for a year almost, man. And we'd never done that before. We're used to putting it out right away. 3 months later, you're on the road. And things start moving. Well, what happened is I started messing around with the mix and stuff, and I think I needed more of this and more of that. I was starting to doubt it. And what happened is we ended up doing a one big circle and ended up with the original mix that we started with, man. And I think that's the thing that I learned from it, man. Just too much time. We wanted to do something with it, so much. But it started getting in the way, and our heads were getting a little discouraged. And Dan Swano mixed it, and he was telling me, no, this is, I'll do whatever you want, but I think this is it. And one big circle right back to the original, man.
That's fascinating, because one of the things almost every artist we've spoken to regards to this period has talked about time and how it's been a good and a bad thing. A good thing because you had a chance to work and take your time a bit more, but the bad thing, which you basically just described there, the fiddling.
Yeah, and we never had, like I said, did that before. Sometimes when you put an album, I'm sure a lot of musicians can relate. You know, when you put it out, you hear it 6 months later. Oh, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did this. But in this case, we already had it perfect, I guess, and we were just playing with it for no reason. And that's scary, you know. I mean, I'm glad we went to the first one. Dan persuaded us, and he was right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because you certainly wouldn't notice that there was any major changes as it went on this way. But considering you had to sit on it for a year, did that dent your interest in it? As obviously the music's older for you than it is us.
What was it again?
Did you kind of take your interest in the music after you've had to sit in it for a year and basically listening, playing around with those songs for so long? Has your excitement been reinvigorated by the final release?
Yeah, I think what helped me too, man, is that, you know, on that downtime, I really got to really learn the songs and learn how to sing and play them. You know, that was a big thing. I had the time to actually, because a lot of times when you go in the studio to record, you don't really do the singing and playing until you start rehearsing, you know. And then the ones that come out most, you know, are that you go with. But I worked my butt off on, you know, practicing that on all that downtime. So I was very valuable using that. And I can literally play every one and sing them, and that's how it should be, you know. And it took some time, you know. Memorizing the words is the thing. I think I got 100 songs now written, and you know, it's getting hard to start cramming another 2 or 3 in there and memorizing it, you know. And I'm getting older, and the memory's getting a little slower, but so I got to pound it and pound it and pound it. But so that downtime really did help me out getting it in the old noggin.
Did you do any live dates during, let's say, the particularly hard period of the COVID time? Because obviously different countries worked very differently.
Yeah, we did the year, not last year, but the year before. We ended up getting 8 shows in, and then the year before that, we got in 3. So we got a few in. I mean, it's better than nothing, you know. And I'll tell you what, on it, you know, like you said, you kind of the time away and you start second guessing yourself, you know, and, you know, do I want to do this, you know, do that? You start working a lot, you lose distractions. And I know that first time that we got up there, the first time that we played in so long, we all, you know, this is what we still need to do. You know, we knew right away, this is what we love. We still, you know.
What did you sort of think about the brief little run, at least in this country, in the UK, with a brief little idea and run of kind of socially distanced, heavily minimized crowds and seated shows, and it even kind of happened in the rock and metal world? Was that something that ever came your way, and would you have ever considered?
No, we never. When we played the shows, we didn't have the restrictions. There was, you know, that the time was right. Where I'm from, Wisconsin, it never really hit. I mean, it didn't. I'm live right on the border. It hit, but the people didn't accept it. And I'm on the border of Illinois. In Illinois, you go across the border, it's like you'd be shot if you didn't have a mask on back at that time, you know. And then in Wisconsin, where I'm from, it's like it don't even exist. It's so weird. But no, we didn't have to deal with any of the masks. There was no, I shouldn't say that. One show we did in Madison, they asked us if we wanted to do a COVID vaccination or a mask, and we chose the mask. And they did have the mask on. I do remember that. We did one show with mask, and it didn't slow the crowd down at all. They were still moshing and sweating and yelling right through the mask, I remember.
Still very surreal.
But it was weird. Yeah, but I did do one. I mean, in a way, it's kind of good that I did do one, because I'll remember that forever now. You know, that's the only one I did I will remember that in my career, you know.
Yeah, it's a unique experience, and hopefully something you never have to ever do again.
Yeah. You know, we'll look back at this and say, remember that show in Madison? I mean, during this is some tough times that we went through, because a lot of musicians like me, you know, we lost 2 years now, 3 years, and I'm getting older, and we're trying to keep fighting the fight. And, you know, we lost a couple years, 2-3 years of tour, and that's a lot in an older band. Like I said, you know, we don't have too much time left, so we got to take advantage of what's left, you know. I mean, and there's a lot of other bands in our situation that are getting older in their career, and the younger's coming up, you know. And so that was the biggest devastating thing, I think, is we lost some years out of touring, you know.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy seismic shift in the music industry because of it as well. But like, this isn't your first experience of like big shifts in the music industry, you know, 1992 to now, from streaming, rise of that, and torrents and places like that. You've still always survived and kept rolling.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I think the biggest why is because I still had a lot of goals that I want to achieve. You know, a lot of notches in the belt I still want to accept and get, and that's what I'm chasing still, is some of those dreams yet. That's what music's about, and life, is dreaming and chasing them. And, the most ones I have are like, I want to play Hellfest. I want to do, walk in, you would think, a legacy band like us, we'd get invited, but we never do. We keep fighting the fight to try to, but one of these years we're going to get on it. Bloodstock, I'd love to get, we always, why don't you play it? Why don't you play it? Well, they don't have interest for us, or some reason. I don't know what it is. We can't get through the door. There's a lot of politics, I would bet. There's a lot of good bands. That's the thing too. There's a lot of great bands. But we're hoping, that's what we're looking for. A lot of those goals still, that I think that keeps us going.
Yeah, that's baffling. As a regular Bloodstock attendee myself, it's that leaves me quite scratching my head. I'd love to know more details about that.
Yeah, we get submitted and don't even get a reply back. It's the business. That's the punches. You can't take anything serious. You just got to keep plugging. And one of these years they might say, yeah, put it up. It'd be great.
Well, if there's ever a time, it's now, because there's a sense of reinvigoration on Jungle Rot on this record. It really, really feels like you guys are having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Are you still having fun?
Yeah, well, that's the main thing, is fun. We write our songs to be fun. We try to get right to the point. I always picture the person coming in. I do most of the writing, and I always picture a first timer coming to see us, and they walk in the door. I see it happen every night when I go on tour. And I've never seen the band. They'll come with a friend, and we see how we win them over. They tap their foot in the beginning, and they bang their head, and all of a sudden it's the fist, and then the next thing they're in the pit, and by the end of the night, new favorite band. That's how it goes right down the line.
Yeah, I've done a few of that gigs myself.
Yeah.
Have you had any experiences with the kind of generational thing yet, where like a father and son or a mother and daughter have been along, and like the mother's been into you for so many years and they're bringing the daughter along?
Yeah. That's exactly what's happened in the last 2-3 years. And it's a beautiful thing, because they're passing the torch, and they're starting out young, and they're finding the underground good, and that's going to be the next generation. You can see already now the next generation of the wave of bands that have been coming up are just really death metal. I think a lot of kids that were in that deathcore 2, 3, 4 years ago, I think they might have went their hair a little longer and they went pure death metal. Now it seems like the scene here is really doing good. We got a lot of good young bands, Frozen Soul, Undeath, a lot of good bands coming up that are, carrying the torch, that are young and got a great start already.
Yeah. So you find yourself paying attention as much as possible to the kind of up and coming. I pay attention as much as I can, man, to what's out there. Yeah. We're all one family, right? Yeah, it's that, isn't it? It's the family thing, because fortunately it's kind of rare, but the whole, oh no, these people are coming for my spot, I must stamp on their fingers kind of.
Yeah. No, it's been going good here though. There's a good scene here. And it's large. It's going good, man.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that as well, because obviously, Jungle Rot there. Well, you used the term legendary. Legendary is the term that's used for Jungle Rot these days.
I always say that. What considers legendary? 10 albums out? Can you consider yourself legendary after 10? What would consider legendary?
I would think if I said the name Jungle Rot to most people within the scene, and they knew who you were, I would consider that. I would consider the knowledge of who you are, whether even if it wasn't that they knew your back catalogue or how many albums or could name X amount of songs, all that rubbish. But he went, oh yeah, I've heard of Jungle Rot, death metal band, that kind of thing. That's a start for me.
But isn't that funny though? Then we talk about the festivals that make you wonder, do they ever hear of us, or they see how we look at it different? It's weird, ain't it?
It is weird, considering that and all that just fits most of these festivals to a T.
A festival to me, when I go to a festival, it's about discovering new bands. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I thought it was all about. Not repeating the same bands. It's amazing how we've never been on a lot of these festivals, and you'd think they would be in line trying to get us a new act that's never been there after 20 years of having these huge festivals. You'd think they'd be, we want that act. We never had them, but no, they'll grab some other act that they already had for 4 or 5 years. You're not wrong. I'll never understand it.
No, I agree with what you agree with, but we're gonna we get some sort of brief insight, and say, for example, with a big one in this country, Download, and every year people moan about the same headlines being booked. Your giant
I see it. I see the lineup every year, and I dream. I see it every year.
Follow that up by then complaining if a new band, a younger band, is given the headline slot and say, "Oh, they're not big enough to headline," and it's kind of like you can't have it both ways. You either want change or you don't.
Yeah, but it is weird how you look at it. Yeah, that's one of those questions that will never be answered, you know.
For you then, though, what about Jungle Rot's longevity? What is it from your perspective that when you look out and you see your fan base, what is it that has meant the core fan base has always stayed throughout all these years and the albums and all the releases? You've got this core fan base that adores you and still does today, and on a new release are still loving everything you do.
I think, seriously, that's a tough question, man. But I think when they get younger, I think a lot of them grew up with us and they know what we're all about. And, you know, they have a lot of older memories. You know, we're still getting new fans, and hope, you know, we do get little here, but a lot of them are the older fans that we already stole their souls. I think that they relate to it because they grew up with it, and, you know, it's something that they grab and they look forward to it. And I think another thing is when we go on the road, you know, we always talk to them. I mean, we're very good people. I mean, that goes a long way, man. They know when they see us. That's one of the funnest things about touring is seeing the faces that have been following us for 10 years now, 15 years. We see them. It's, you know, like I said, a family. And I think that goes a long way as well, you know, just communicating with them and just being one of them or one of us, you know, we're all the same, you know. I think that helps out a lot. I really do.
Basically, don't be scared, right? Come and talk to you, say hello, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm normal. Yeah, I'm no different than you. You know, I cut the grass, you know, I have dogs, you know, that's what I enjoy doing. You know, I'm same as you. I don't live in a castle, you know, I don't do anything like that.
Absolutely. What was it like working with Unique Leader on this release? Obviously, the label is synonymous with extreme music, but this is the first time with them for you guys.
So far, it's been great. You know, I'm excited to be with them. They're a younger label. You know, I like that. You know, in a younger generation, I was hoping to sign to them and, like I said, get some of the younger crowd as well. You know, they are a brutal slam label, and trying to get some of those younger kids to cross over to this permanent old school. I think it's like trying to remember, you know, they don't even know what cassette tapes are, you know, trying to go backwards like that. But I think we've already got some of the fans over there, you know, they're following, but I'm excited. It's a great label. I mean, they pump out the albums. They're taking a lot of chances. I think they're one of the strongest labels out there today, and they're no different than any of the other bigger ones. I think they're right with them.
No, I agree, absolutely. Easily one of my favorite in this country for sure. It's glad it's going well as well. Now, my personal favorite track of the new album is Death Squad. Although ask me tomorrow and it'll be a totally different, it'll be Total Extinction or something like that. I want to ask you, from your perspective, what is your personal favorite track in the album? Perhaps the one you enjoy playing the most?
Me personally, I like the title track called Arms. I just think it's, you know, it's just groovy. You know, it feels good when I play it. I mean, I enjoy playing it. I think it, you know, I call it like a Frankenstein, I guess, of a song. You know, it's got a lot of the album. It's got the speed. It's got the groove. It's got it all. I think it just has everything in there just to make it a very good song. In my mind, I like that song. Yeah.
But if I asked you tomorrow, would you have a different one?
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I like asymmetric warfare, real easy. You know, I like Propane. It reminds me of, you know, a little bit of hardcore in there, you know, straight to the point. You know, real that kind of song like that. When I write it, I always think, you know, like I said before, I know when we play that song live, it's just, that's the kind of song that's just people are going to go home and they're going to just wake up in the morning and hear that riff in their head, you know, and that it just going to sound so clean and good, you know, live, because it's so simplistic and easy. It's just, and that's what Young Rut's all about, man. It's people coming to the show and leaving, and I know they wake up in the morning and they're humming them, man. They remember those riffs, man. We get them, we hook them good, man.
I hope you come back to the UK at some point soon.
Me too, man. You know, we have a great time there. You know, we were building a good little thing there. We got over there a couple of times. Now we're having issues again, and you know, I think there's a great scene there. I mean, I think if we can get on that Bloodstock sometime and then start doing some headlining after that, I think something can really take off, man, because we do have a lot of fans. I always get a lot of, you know, requests and response from there and nonstop, man. I mean, it's going good there for us.
For now, just keep doing what you're doing at the moment. As you say, you've got a tour coming up soon, so that's going to keep you busy, and that's great to focus on. But without going too far into the future, because it's very hard to do anyway these days, this sort of feels like the start of the next phase of Jungle Rot. Are you feeling that as well? Because everything feels pretty damn good at the moment.
I think so. Being on a new label, new launch, new everything. I think, refreshing. I mean, I love the last label around with Victory, but they had issued a long running label, great label. They did a lot of us, man, but they kind of at the end they always come down, it started bottoming out on us. And I think this was gonna be good for us. I mean, I'm excited for the future for sure.
Oh, I love that. Excited for the future. It's exciting because our last question I have for you then is simply this, and it's going back to 1996, Skin the Living, 1996, right? And then the Call to Arms 2022. There's the first and there's the current releases. Aside from obviously lineup changes, for you, what's the biggest difference in Jungle Rot today?
That's a tough one again, man. I mean, not much has really changed. I mean, I guess I go down to back. You think of Skin and Living. I remember back in those days. I mean, now it's back when we're in the garage sweating it out, writing as a group. Good times, practicing 4 or 5 nights a week. Just couldn't wait to get home and get off work or go home from school to do it. Every night you're practicing in a jam spot. And now it's completely different. You write on a computer. I write with just my guitar player. We never write as a band in a jam room anymore. I do the writing, and that's the only difference I can see. I think that's a lot of bands are like that. When you get older, you have families and it's hard to just get together, and I think that's the biggest thing. When you're young, you could just devote 100% for sure, but we're still pretty dedicated though.
Yeah, and the music, it's still absolutely killing it, slamming it out there. So like from beginning to end, it's been an incredible experience up to this point. Can't wait to see more. Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?